All right. Okay. Are we good? Good.
Yep, we're good to go.
All right. So I've known Caroline for quite a few years now, and also through word of mouth from the Active Birth Centre, through the pregnancy connection. She's an amazing homeopath, has over 30 years experience of clinical experience and practice in nutrition and homeopathy. So I refer loads of people to her because she's just brilliant. So, and also really good with the cleanse. I discovered this Platinum Health cleanse through Caroline as well, and I've tried a few different ones, but I just find this one so beneficial. It feeds the body, it nourishes the body, but it's also uh, really comprehensive. It just gets rid of stuff and it just replenishes nutrients. And I've never and your sugars are balanced. You know, you can get through the day without completely collapsing. And it sort of gives you so much energy towards the end. There's a real sort of pattern in the way it works, and which I'm going to ask Caroline about today. So yeah, the benefits of cleansing. Why do it?
That's such a great question, isn't it? And I think most of us know that we go through periods of times in our life when we, we've eaten too much or we've drunk too much, or maybe we've had a very stressful time in our life and we feel full and we know that we need to let go and perhaps have a quiet time and replenish. But so many of us don't know how to do that. We don't, and we might observe that other creatures do that, but that we're not very good at it. And I think part of the reason for that is that food is very abundant to us in the main. And we can go to the corner
Not
shop
always
at any
good
time
food.
of day or night.
Not always
Sorry.
not always good food. Yeah.
No, that's right. And we can, any time of day or night, we can go to the corner shop and go and get some food, which can actually tip us into states of imbalanced blood sugar. So the benefits of just putting pause on the system and allowing the system to rest, and then we can start to use superfoods, particularly and targeted foods, and the superfoods are wonderful for that, to actively detox and let go of things that we've acquired over time. And the other thing that I think we don't realize is that if you took someone from the 15th century and introduced them to the 21st century right now, they probably would just keel over and not be able to deal with the amount
Sugar.
of toxicity and elements in our environment. So I often think of someone in a farthingale kind of swanning up and just fainting because they couldn't deal with what we have adapted to deal with. And so, just stopping, pausing, allowing your system, encouraging your system to let go, and then replenishing it. So many of the superfoods have that dual capacity of allowing the body to detox, but also replenishing the body
Mm.
with nutrients that we're actually really hungry for. So something that most people don't
Mm.
know until you start to study it is that things like, pasta, rice, pizza, the carbs, the complex carbohydrates, alcohol, are all foods within which we are searching for the nutrients, and those nutrients may or may not be there for us. When we go to more concentrated foods, micronutrients, and superfoods, that what we need is delivered to us in a much smaller amount of food, much more potent, much more able for the system to utilize what it's consuming. So when you get down to micronutrients, and I'm talking about things like blue-green algae, crackcell, chlorella, spirulina, barley grass, wheatgrass, alfalfa shoots, all these foods deliver an awful lot of nutrients to you, but they also deliver them very, very efficiently. And your body utilizes what you put into it. With something like a pizza, especially if it's not sourdough bread and not organic ingredients, your body's having to work really hard to extract what it needs, and it might not get it. That's why we need to pause, stop, cleanse, let go.
There's also the aspect, like in, the 15th century, or what, there was a um, earth situation. The nutrients,
Yes,
the soil were much
so
more,
true.
and now they've been leached out. So the wheat in the bread now is very lacking in nutrients, isn't it? So in a way,
Absolutely. Hmm.
these supplements are food.
Absolutely. They're real food to us. And in that sense, we don't need to eat so much of them either.
Mm,
Many people start the cleanse and they do this particular 10-day cleanse that we work with. And then they come off the other end of that and they realize they don't need to eat so much food. They need to eat better quality food. And since, really the 1930s, the quality of our food has massively eroded. So we now need to eat something like 50 peaches to get the vitamin B that we would have got from 2 peaches in the 1930s. Meat, for instance, which is, right at the top of the food chain for us, whether we eat it or not, it's supposed to be a very nutrient dense product. It's 60% depleted at least of most of the essential minerals that we need.
and
Now,
you can,
most of us think, oh, we need protein, that's why we eat meat. But actually, it's a lot of mineral delivery from meat, particularly when we eat more organ meats, and we get things like iron and whatever from those. So we're talking about even organic is denuded.
mm,
And so this kind of going to the micronutrients, going to the herbs, going to the superfoods delivers nutrients to us. And so for many people, they feel energized for the first time in their life
yeah.
when they do something like a superfood cleanse.
That was my experience when I first did the
Mm.
cleanse. It was like my body saying, it was just like drawing up all these nutrients. I couldn't, it was just like saying, yes, I need more. And then after doing two, it was like, okay, yeah, my body's got enough now. And then it was more about the aminos and protein, needing more protein,
Yeah.
um, because I was vegetarian.
One thing I just wanted to put in that I remember from your very first cleanse that really struck me is you said, my yoga teacher said, I am so much more flexible on this cleanse. And I was like, wow, I'd had that experience, but I hadn't really acknowledged it till you said that. And I was like, that's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
an
Because we
improvement.
seek that, don't we? We seek flexibility and strength in our yoga practice.
This was the thing. I think it was both. It was both, because it, for me, I think it was more about um, being more strengthening. So the aminos, for
Mm,
instance, is just really
mm,
energizing and strengthening. So someone who is flexible, well, or it improves your flexibility because it supports it. So if you can
yeah,
support the flexibility, then the strength is able to sort of be more stabilized. There's more stability.
yeah,
So
definitely.
flexible. Yeah, and that's the whole point. I mean, yoga is about balancing strength and flexibility, and people come with different aspects of that. And
Mm, definitely.
it definitely improved. I mean, by day 8, 9, 10, my practice was just flying. I was on fire day 10. After doing Kino and Tim's workshop, I was just flying. It was
Mhm.
crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so it
Yeah,
can really help in those
definitely.
your athletic performance, definitely running. My running was so much better. So yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely helps in that sort of way. So how do you why do you think the platinum health cleanse is better than other ones, in the sense that
Yeah, no, that also is a great question. So going back for me, I used to be able to do a juice cleanse, sort of 3 days. We thoroughly enjoy it. And then I had children. And I think having children, I was quite young when I had my children, but I think that created a partly maybe a few things contributed to the tendency to imbalance blood sugar. So I was a real sugar addict as a kid. Um, Grew up, carried a lot of that actually for a long time. And I think having children, breastfeeding them, being a busy mum, I had that tendency to imbalance blood sugar, and that usually would manifest as needing to eat regularly. So when I tried to cleanse post childbirth, I just couldn't do it. I would just crash after sort of on day 3 usually into a very low blood sugar state, feel terrible, and of course not have the energy to be a mum. So I just didn't cleanse in that way for years. Um, I now know there are other cleanses that I probably could have done, which have a little bit more food in them, maybe looking at some of the Ayurvedic principles. What I loved about this cleanse that I came to 10 years ago are a few things really. It's all organic, it's vegan,
Mm.
it is non-genetically modified. So
So important.
nothing has been added into any of those products. And there also are no fillers and binders. Awful lot of cleanses on the market. You will look at the greens blend that you would make into I've got a shake with me actually, a shake. You look at and this is actually really good. I probably can't quite see it on the screen, but because that's been standing there for 20 minutes or so, it's actually separated out. Now, if you've got fillers and particularly binders in a product, it won't separate out like that because the binders give it a homogeneous look. So actually what you want is something that separates out and showing you that it doesn't have binders. So you literally, it's a shake. You give it a shake before you drink it, before you take it, in order to blend those products together. So I was looking for, and my clients were demanding it, products which were organic, vegan, no fillers, no binders, no coloring, etc. And there's like nothing on the market that fits that bill. So when I got introduced to this particular 10-day cleanse and these products, I was amazed because I got to day 8 and my blood sugar was stable. And that is partly, or quite a lot actually contributed to this product, Master Amino Acid Pattern, which is called in Europe. The cleanse is available in the US and Canada, and this is called Super Aminos 23 in Canada and America. And basically, this has a phenomenal capacity to stabilize your blood sugar, to repair your organs. So when we talked about flexibility, this product is conditioning your muscles. It is repairing. So I get people who have had organ damage or deterioration, they have a degenerative disease, onto a product like this to literally rebuild it. And what this will do is also strengthen your connective tissue, condition your connective tissue. So that's where both the flexibility and the strength come from. And I get guys and postmenopausal women with muscle wastage onto this product because, and I've had guys who are tennis players. So, they're springing around on their legs like the whole time in training, and they've always had narrow calves. Get them onto this product, and they will develop musculature structure that guys, frankly, should have. So that's just one of the products in the cleanse. And
It's
then
also very
the
good
shake is,
postnatally, isn't it? Postnatally, the maps and
yeah, yeah,
postnatally when people have had a
amazing, because it's rewiring your blood sugar. We don't realize how much it takes to generate, muscles, tendons, ligaments of baby. We will do that at our expense if we don't have the nutrients. So in a way, this would be an amazing product for pregnant women to take so that they build healthy baby and maintain their own strength and muscular integrity and blood
yeah,
sugar,
I would
which
I
is
needed
amazing,
that
really,
more.
isn't it?
I think I needed that more postnatally. I think the
Yeah.
pregnancy it kind of takes care of itself a bit, I always felt quite healthy and
I think
pregnant.
it depends on your age. I just spoke to somebody this morning who is 43. She's had her babies quite late. Um, I think definitely in her latter 30s. So there's less available building materials. There's available hormonal integrity to create baby. You need nutrients, and so many women, we just don't know that. We're not given that information.
And there's a
But just
lot
to
of
say a little
women
bit more
who
about
are wanting their children much later in life these days, aren't there? Sort of people, women in their
Well,
late
we're encouraged to. Yeah, we're encouraged to because,
early.
women are encouraged to have a career and it's difficult to do both.
I don't know what people women are encouraged to do really, because that's probably Yeah, it's good to be encouraged to in your
It
career.
is. I mean, it's a double-edged sword though, because it's, we don't really support we could get into a whole conversation about this. I think there's lots in there. Um, we can have babies later in life. We just need to look after our nutrition. And as a rule of thumb, I see young women having babies with more issues with the first baby because often women haven't done a bit of a cleanup. And so there's more issues with the first baby. Subsequent babies, while you still got your vitality, tend to be stronger. Older women, first baby's strong because they've looked after their nutrition a bit and thought about having a child. And it's the subsequent babies where there's not available building blocks
I always,
that I see more problems.
I
It's a bit
always
of a rule of thumb, but
I always encourage women, when they come in for massage and stuff, to think about, doing a cleanse for the first year before they have kids, and the guy as
yeah,
well, because it helps with the integrity of the sperm and the egg. The quality of the sperm and the egg is completely different, and the intention
yeah,
behind it is so indifferent. So when you're so different, so when you're calling in that spirit from the universe, and you're creating this child together, then you want
mm,
it to be the best quality, don't you?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's so many things, these foods have phenomenal antioxidant value. So, if we're looking at it in a kind of mechanical way, men's sperm is 50% less virile than it was in the 1950s. And so we need to look at the motility of the sperm, the shape of the sperm, and the abundance of the sperm.
That was
And, adding in antioxidants to your life will improve all of those three
all of that
qualities that we're looking for.
shaped by the toxins in the environment. And
That's right.
toxicity, where does it come from? We're cleansing. So where does this toxicity come from?
Everything from, look, I mean, if I was just to talk about Wi-Fi disrupts your blood sugar, your lipid levels, and your protein metabolism. And there are studies that show us that. We just have to seek them out. We started using all sorts of things in the 1970s. If you were born before or during the 1970s, you were the first cohort to be introduced to all the additives in food, the coloring in food. Sugars became even more refined. So, even more of an issue for us to deal with in terms of toxicity, but also even more of an issue for our own innate blood sugar stability. The cruder the sugar is, in a way, the closer it is to the earth. But when we start to refine it, we get the hit of the sugar, that energy really fast. And it has, untold effects on the bone and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, a cleanse a couple of times a year in some way is such a phenomenal thing to do, given where we live now, 21st century.
Because the
So
level in our environment is so much higher, in the climate, in the earth, in the sea, the plastics, so we're coping with a
mm,
lot of toxicity that wasn't there
mm,
before. Also, the stress levels, the way people work, the stress causes a lot.
yeah.
And then um so
And
and
our ability to tolerate stress, because stress is actually a really interesting thing for us. Stress, um,
did in
under a
part.
stressful situation, we raise our blood sugar and we raise our energy
Mm,
and that also, that we deliver nutrients faster to the body to overcome an issue, a problem. It enables us to problem solve, get out of a tight corner. So stress in itself is something that we need to have in order to advance. We need to pull back from that. We need resilience. We need to be elastic and to pull back from the stress and rest and cleanse and detox, etc., and restore. But
yeah.
in itself, stress is something that we should be able to weather. It's just we ramp up the stressors, and that is everything from an aggressive person or a busy workload to environmental factors. And then, we have a real problem. And that's where we're at now.
Big
So I
boundaries.
think,
Boundaries are the big one.
yeah, mm,
But it's quite
Yeah,
tricky when you're trying to live day to day and work,
yeah,
find your way in the world,
exactly.
you know, when
Yeah.
I mean, if you got double trouble, then it's like, wow, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, or or triple or quadruple. There's a lot of factors, and those kind of I call them imperfect storms. When a few things come together, it's when the system starts to crash. And an organ that perhaps has been struggling starts to really shout. In some way, and that might be pain, or it might be hair loss, or it might be, fatigue, or it might be an inability to sleep that manifesting in some way that's telling you something needs fixing here.
Usually,
You know.
usually it is quite digestive, isn't it? It's originating from the digestive system in some way, whether it's via an organ or whether it comes through the skin. Yeah, but it kind of it's coming from. My understanding is it's coming from the digestive system, or is that not quite?
Stress in itself, the
Oh
stress
no, yeah, I'd
response.
say more sort of conditions or
Yeah, I mean,
sort
there is a saying, "You are what you eat." So, and I think that has a lot of mileage in it.
of, oh yeah.
Um, and yeah, so 70 to 80% of our immune response, for instance, takes place in the gut if the gut is not healthy in some way. And that often is people often come into the cleanse because they have a problem with digestion. They have a problem with, gas, bloating. They might be, I work quite a lot with menopause, women are waking at 3 a.m. And I'm like, this is a digestive issue that's causing you to wake up. Let's go back to the gut. Let's do some cleansing. Let's let
Waking
go of some of the toxins.
is often related to different organs because at different times of the night
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
more active, aren't
yeah,
they? Chinese.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Should we just talk a little bit about some of the other products in the cleanse and what the process
Yeah,
is?
definitely. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the black walnut is one of the beginning ones, isn't it?
It is. So basically in this cleanse that we're talking about here and we're working with is 10 days. And as I said, it's organic, it's vegan, non-GM, etc. And it comprises 6 products. And one of the things that worried me when I first doing it was like, what am I going to eat? Actually, you're having something every 2 hours on cleanse. So when you wake in the morning, we encourage, both Eve and I encourage people to have glass of water with a bit of lemon juice in it, possibly a bit of apple cider vinegar to kind of kickstart your system and get it going. And throughout the cleanse, hydration with filtered water or spring water is important, and you have a set amount of that. You can go over that, but you need to have at least 3 large glasses of filtered or spring water a day. And basically, first off, in the morning, you have this product that I just mentioned, master amino acid pattern with crack-cell chlorella and a very small amount of flex food. So the chlorella is one of the green superfoods, and it has both a detoxification aspect and a nutrifying aspect. And it particularly helps your body detox heavy metals, which are easy to accumulate. If you eat raw fish, you've ever had a vaccine, if you have any dentistry with, amalgam, silver fillings, etc. All those
What
things will give you
metals? Sorry, just to explain the metals, maybe like
heavy
aluminium,
metals. Heavy metals are things like mercury, aluminium, cadmium, uh,
aluminium
lead.
fluoride, isn't it? In toothpaste and fluoride and
Exactly. So many sources for these, many sources for these environmentally. It could come through body care products, foods that you eat, etc., etc. So we use the crack cell chlorella to detox at that level, and then so you've got the MAP, crack cell chlorella, and a very small amount of flex foods. So there are some foods that we have on cleanse which help us detox, um, cleanse, hydrate the bowel, etc. So we have that in the morning, very first thing. And then a little bit later on at 10 o'clock, we have some Hippocrates power shake. So you have a power shake with 500 mils of water. And then 2 hours later, you have the map again and the crack cell chlorella and a small amount of flex food. And you alternate like that through
um,
basically a 12-hour window.
Can you explain about the flex foods? What kind of foods are flex foods?
Yeah. So the flex foods, primary ones, especially in the warmer seasons, watermelon, cucumber are both very hydrating for the bowel. Celery and avocado. And in the winter, I like to have a New Year's cleanse myself, and a lot of people like to cleanse at that time and kind of stay in a little bit of a hibernatory state. And we might introduce some warm flex foods then, so something like miso soup or steamed veg, that kind of thing. And then at the end of the day, you have this, which is called apothecary. And this is a sour cherry concentrate. And this is one of the very, very few foods on the planet which will encourage your melatonin production. And melatonin helps us slip into a comfortable sleep. And the apothecary is another very antioxidant rich food. So it has something like an ORAC value of 7,000. And a lot of people take that on its own. So some of these products people take beyond the cleanse because they have a certain goal. So for me, that is about longevity and getting good sleep. And those two things kind of go hand in hand. So the cleanse is a very set schedule, and you do that in rotation for 10 days. And both Eve and I like the space of, perhaps a group cleanse where you've got a bit of mutual support as well. But I have many, many people who do the cleanse on their own and benefit hugely from it. I have people who do the cleanse as couples as well, which is lovely. So yeah, I mean, it's just such an incredible experience. And the feedback's phenomenal. People talk about it as life-changing, and it's called the 10-day transformation cleanse, and that is for a reason.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's quite subtle because I've done it.
Mm,
Does it does the accumulatory aspects of it? It helps you to really bring up all stuff, like emotional stuff that you've
definitely. Yeah,
in your tissues
yeah,
and years, and it's just like
definitely.
stuck
Yeah.
there, and it's quite
Our
liberating.
last cleanse, I just want to share a little bit before we finish, actually. I'm just was is really to say that on the last group cleanse that I did, so many emotional issues came up for people, and some of them going back quite a long time. And there was one woman on the cleanse who was having problems sleeping. And I said, where in your life has there been a layer of stress and adrenal fatigue? And it was a very deep issue around some loss in the family where she had to, all hands on deck, support everybody else because there'd been a big shock and loss. And she'd never allowed her system to recover from that. So this cleanse gave her the opportunity to revisit that time and put in some nurture. And then beyond the cleanse, I recommended a couple of products to help with nourishing the adrenal glands. We can do that through foods, we can do that with superfoods so that her adrenal glands are properly restored going forward. So the cleanse will bring up issues for you to consider how to look after yourself going forward. And that actually, to me, is one of the most phenomenal things about it.
Yeah, I think it's so
True
valuable.
transformation.
I think journaling is a really good way in the morning, sort of meditating and
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
sort of washing
Yeah,
out on paper, and you can look at them a bit more, but it also helps to sort of just get them out. Um,
definitely.
and
Yeah, I mean, journaling is well documented as in on its own in terms of therapeutic value. But I think there are many, many more things that we could talk about. We can go on and do that another time about the opportunities really and the possibilities that lie within the space of giving yourself time to cleanse, detox, let go, and restore. It's really quite phenomenal.
restoring and plenishing is restorative yoga and yin yoga are really lovely to do along with the cleanse. But it depends how
Absolutely.
active
Yeah.
or you are as well. But I think it's good to do stuff like that to sort of just really calm the body and the nervous
Yeah,
system.
definitely. I mean, one of
Like,
the things, if I've got somebody who is an athlete, I mean, occasionally I get people coming in who are in training, and we might have to add in products,
mm,
actually extra products to help them with the training program. But generally speaking, it is really good to, and we can talk about this as well another time, but to factor in, rest, restorative space during the cleanse. So you really are nurturing yourself on every level.
Yeah.
I need to finish there today because I've got, and I know there'll be lots more questions, but I'm happy to come back to this space.
About sort of post cleansing, it's important to
Yeah,
keep the food.
exactly.
Uh,
Exactly. There's lots that we can go on to, and I've kind of hinted a little bit at the kind of things that we can do. Some people have a weight loss goal, some people have a stress management goal, some people have a fitness goal, and there are other products in the range. I mean, there's about 50 other products in the range besides the 6 that we focus on for the cleanse. And I didn't say actually, you mentioned it, the Black Walnut Plus, just to sort of finish on that. That is a parasite and a bowel cleanse. So very specifically looking at bowel function. And, much as most of us hate to hear this, we all have a few little parasites knocking about that, we need to kind of assist out of our lives, because they are also feeding on the good nutrients, if we're not careful. So that is an important part of it.
it's at the beginning of the cleanse. I think it's like the first few days. It kind of gets everything out of the system, with the water and everything, and then the other nutrient, the chlorella, the shake, the amino acids, they're all kind of replenishing and building. That's
Definitely.
the
Yeah. Yeah. So it has that, kind of many-fold action, really.
I mean, you can imagine sort of like your pipes, your pipe work in the cupboards.
Exactly. I often say
Like
that. Give your
you get
car a service once a year.
it gets kind of stirred around the edges, around and around the bends. You get deposit.
Totally.
So you've got to kind of shift, get all that stuff out. So that's what the black walnut's doing, isn't it? It's sort of
It is. Yeah.
and
It's
then
a
the
it's a
water
blend. It has some other.
and it's
Mhm.
replenishing the microbiome or and things like that. But there's other nutrients that like probiotics which are good to take, but you can
Yeah.
talk about that another time.
Yeah. There's lots more we can add in, but let's do
All
that
right.
another time.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely, Eve. Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah, hope that was okay.
Yeah, absolutely.